أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Surah Yasin. I begin in the name of Allah, the most affectionate, the most merciful. Verse number 58. سلام قولا من رب رحيم. Peace be on you will be the word of greeting from the merciful Lord. And in the commentary it is mentioned, Allah Almighty would be extending greetings to the inmates of paradise, either directly or indirectly, through the angels. But this greeting would not be in the form of prayer, as Allah Almighty is pure from offering dua. This would be for His own pleasure and for expressing the loftiness of the inmates of paradise. Through the greetings and a desire of obtaining divine vision in the heart of the believers would be fulfilled. Sallu ala al-Habib Sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Inshallah, I'd like to mention a parable which a few months ago I was listening to a scholar regarding ishq mijazi, regarding unlawful gazing. And in today's society that we come across on social media, we come across a lot of youngsters gazing on social media, as well as Islamic sisters, mothers and daughters. And this waqia gives us a reflection that alhamdulillah, Allah's mercy be upon many individuals. There are pious people, alhamdulillah, in the world. And there was a young boy who was a talib ilm, who would go to seek religious knowledge from his teacher. And the pathway that he took to the masjid, there was a beautiful woman, and this beautiful woman would gaze at this young pious boy. But alhamdulillah, by the fadl of Allah Azza wa Jal, this pious boy did not gaze back at this woman. But this woman, she wanted his attention. She tried her utmost best, but she failed in many attempts. She had a maid servant which she sent to trick this pious boy in either answering some Sharia questions by inviting him to her home. And she was a clever woman, this maid servant. She said to her Malika, her owner, leave that to me. I will bring him to you. So when this boy was brought to the house, and the maid servant, she seated him in one of the rooms, and she ended up locking the door with this beautiful woman, with this pious boy. Now, this pious boy realized that this is that same woman that would stare at me and gaze at me. He started imploring and making dua to Allah Almighty. This woman's intentions were wrong, and she intended to do wrong with this pious boy. Suddenly, he had a khayal that came to his heart, that he requested this pious woman, I need to use the washroom. And when I was mentioning this parable to my son, Abdul Hannan, and when this pious boy went to the washroom, he performed his natural needs, and he rubbed number 2 all on his body. And this is when Abdul Hannan started laughing. Why did he put that stuff on? Because young boys, babies, 8 or 9 years old, Abdul Hannan started to understand what's this parable about. But sometimes youngsters pick the negative parts. So when this pious boy exited the washroom, and this woman, she saw him in that state, that a bad odor was smelling and emanating from him, and she suddenly screamed and said, "You just leave from here. I don't want to see you." So when he left, he went to a canal, either a river bank on the side, and he started washing his excrement, number two, off his body. He started washing his clothes. When he entered the madrasa, he sat down with the other students. The ustad in that class was smelling something. He said, "I smell a beautiful fragrance." That student lowered his gaze out of shame. Then again, the ustad kept questioning, "Who is wearing this fragrance? I want to know." He was very shameful and he tried to avoid the ustad and tried to hide behind other students. Then, when the mulaqat took place, when the class was finished, the ustad started to smell each student. "It's not you." The next student, "No, I can't smell it from you." When he came to the last student, which was him, he did mulaqat with him. And he says, "You smell so beautiful." And he thought, why is my ustad saying I smell so beautiful when I've put number two on? And then he sat him down and he went in tears and he started to cry. I can explain what the smell is. The ustad, he said, "I'm serious. This is not what I'm smelling. You're telling me, the whole parable which he explained to the ustad, this is what happened." And he says, by the mercy of Allah Almighty, when he followed the Sharia, he followed the commands, he lowered his gaze, he safeguarded himself from zina, and then he went to the river bank, Allah Almighty changed that bad fragrance, the bad odor of that excrement on his body to a beautiful smell. And he said that smell remained until he died. So this was the parable, and our youngsters should learn from this parable. Whenever coming to the masjid, to the madrasa, we should try to lower our gazes, and the more we lower our gazes, our memory increases as well, and we can safeguard ourselves from these nowadays lustful activities that are taking place. We are in the end times. May Allah Almighty protect us, protect the chastity of our women, our brothers and sisters, and protect all our youngsters from social media. Remember, Allah Hazrat has mentioned that, it starts from the eyes, and then it affects the heart, and then your body parts. If we can control the eyes from the start, then it won't lead to that situation. May Allah Almighty accept this short parable which I've just mentioned, the mafhum of it. If I come across it in detail, word to word, inshallah, I will deliver this, inshallah. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala, ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.